Start off by giving all praises to Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shah by Hashem, Barak Kadesh, the wonders to the apostles and the others, a great millstone that taught me this truth. And I'm gonna do one lesson entitled this one, Son of David, Part 1, the Matthew birth explained. Alright. So let's get into it. Alright, Matthew chapter 1, verse 1. Alright. The book of the generation of Yahweh Shah Mashiach, son of David, son of Abraham. Alright. And okay, this is the beginning of the book. You know, it says son of David, son of Abraham. Alright. And we go into it, it gives you the genealogy all the way down to Yahweh Shah. So, second verse, Abraham begot Isaac, Isaac begot Jacob, and Jacob begot Judas and his brethren. Alright. So we know Yahweh Shah came from the house of Judah. Alright. And we go all the way down and you get to the sixth verse. And Jesse begot David the king, and David begot Solomon of her that had been the wife of Uriah. So you know Bathsheba was Solomon there, and this is Yahweh Shah genealogy. Alright, so we're gonna skip all the way down to the 16th verse. Alright, and then you can go back and read the entire genealogy if you want later. And it say, and Jacob begot Joseph, the husband of Mary, who was born Yahweh Shah, who is called a Mashiach. Alright, so that was how we get down to Yahweh Shah. Alright, and then it tells us on the 17th verse. So all the generations from Abraham to David are 14 generations. And from David until the carried away into Babylon are 14 generations. And from the carried away into Babylon until Yahweh Shah are 14 generations. Alright? So there's 14 generations between them. Alright? Alright, now let's go into before I go reading further, we're gonna do again. I want Numbers 1:18. Alright. Numbers 1:18. And they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their pedigrees by their families, by the house of their fathers, according to the numbers of their names, from 20-year-old and upward by their polls. Alright, and they say they declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers. So that's letting you know right there that there are no mixed people. Everything is done according to the father. So whatever the father is, that's what the child is. This concept of mixed people was something that was just made up in America. There's no truth to it. Alright? And let's go back to New Hebrews 2:14. Alright. Alright. For as much then as the children are partakers of the flesh and blood, he also himself likewise took part of the same, that through death he might destroy him that had power of death, that is the devil, and deliver them who without fear of death were all their lifetime subject to bondage. For verily he took not on him the nature of the angels, but he took on him the seed of Abraham. So this is telling you that Yahweh Shah was the seed of Abraham. Alright? So the seed means, it got to be a biological connection. And the only way you can have it is through the Father. Okay? And then we're going to go to, see what else. Galatians 4:4. Alright. But when the fulfillment, Galatians 4:4, but when the fulfillment of time was come, Yahweh sent forth his son, made of a woman, made under the law. Alright, so that's telling you that his son was made of a woman and made under the law. Alright, so what was the law? You get there, you go to Leviticus, the 12th chapter. Alright, we're gonna do the alright. Alright, and I just read, well, I didn't know, this is just, I might read the whole thing, but maybe just four. Alright. And the Lord spoke unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, If a woman conceive seed, and born a man, child then should be unclean even 7 days, according to the days of the separation for her infirmity, she should be unclean. And in the 8th day, the flesh of his foreskin should be circumcised, and she should then continue in the blood of her purification 3 and 30 days, and she should touch no hollow thing, nor come into the sanctuary until the day of purification be fulfilled. Alright, so I think this was all we was needing, and we know Mary followed this law, according to the scriptures. So that just lets you know that it had to been, the baby had to been of the seed of man. And then we go to Wisdoms of Solomon, 7th chapter. We're gonna do the see. Okay, I'm gonna read down to the 6th verse. Wisdom of Solomon, 7th chapter, 1-6. I myself also am a mortal man, like to all the offspring of him that was first made of the earth. Alright. And in my mother's womb was fashioned to be flesh in the time of 10 months, being compacted in blood of the seed of man, and pressure that came with sleep, in the pressure that came with sleep. Alright. And when I was born, I drew in common air and fell upon the earth, which is of like nature, and the first voice which I uttered was crying, all others do. I was nursed in swaddling clothes, and that was cur, and that with curs. For there is no king that had any other beginning of birth. For our man had one entrance into life, and the light going out. So this is telling you that Yahushua came as a man, and it was only one way in, to be born of a woman. Alright. So let's get back to let's see. Let me read one more, and then I'm gonna get back to Matthew, the 1st chapter. Alright. Go Galatians 3:16. Alright. Now to Abraham and his seed were the promises made. He said, not into his seed as many, but as many of one, into the seed which is Yahushua. So this is telling you that Yahushua was from the seed of Abraham. And only men have seed now. That's the biggest thing you got to keep in remembrance. Alright. That women do not have seed. Alright. And like I started with Matthew first because when you read through the Spirit, when you read Matthew the 1st chapter, you don't even see a virgin birth once you start reading through the Spirit. And thanks. So this is the easiest one to understand. Alright. Now, the birth of Yahushua Mashiach was on this wise when, as his mother Mary was espoused to Joseph, alright, which means espoused was another way of saying married to Joseph. And we all know what is marriage, going back to Genesis. Isaac took Sarah into his Rebecca mother's tent, and she became his wife. So espoused pretty much means married to Joseph. So meaning they already have had sexual relations. Before they came together, she was found with the child of the Holy Ghost. Alright. Now, spirits don't have sex. So in the impress, if the spirit was to have sex when married, that would mean the Holy Ghost committed what they call it, adultery, which makes no sense whatsoever. You know, they tried to word this so they would throw you off track, but you just know spirits don't have sex, and the Holy Ghost will never commit adultery. All right, and sleep with a woman that already belongs to a man to begin with, which would make it a sin. And the Holy Ghost does not sin. All right, that's how you know that this is not the way that was meant to be interpreted. It just meant, this was a spirit that had the Lord's anointings on it. All right. Then Joseph, her husband, being a just man and not willing to make a public example, was minded to put her away properly. Right? Because Joseph had sex with Mary before he was supposed to be sleeping with her. So he didn't want to make her a public example. That's what that verse is going to. But while he thought on these things, behold, the angel of the Lord appeared unto him in a dream, saying, Joseph, thou son of David, fear not to take into thee Mary thy wife, for that which is conceived in her is of the Holy Ghost. So, just let them know, what's inside her is good, and it's of the Lord. So he shouldn't be afraid to claim his wife, all right, in the public, because they were supposed to have a ceremony first, and then Joseph was supposed to do what he did. But he did what he did before the ceremony. And she shall bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name Yahushua, and he should save his people from their sins. And that's quote from the Lord being for everybody to cut on it. As it say, for he should save his people from their sins. He didn't say everybody. He said he gonna save his people from his sins. The Israelites. Now, all this was done, but it might be fulfilled which was spoken of the Lord by the prophet, saying, Behold, a virgin should be with child, which right there, that phrase virgin should have been a young woman should be with child, all right? And she'll bring forth a son, and they should call his name Emmanuel, which being interpreted is Yahweh with us, all right? Then Joseph began to raise from sleep, did as the angel of the Lord had bidden him, and took unto him his wife, and he knew her not till she brought forth her firstborn son, which means he just didn't have sex with her again until, Yahushua was born, and he called his name Yahushua. And if Joseph won Yahushua's father, they wouldn't have all this in the beginning. The genealogy just wouldn't be here from the 1 verse through the 16th verse. You wouldn't have that genealogy unless Joseph was the biological father. All right. So now let's get to see if I got anything. Oh yeah. Let's see. Romans. All right. Romans 4, 13, and let's see how far I'm going to read. For the promise that he should be the heir of the world, and was not to Abraham or to his seed through the law, but through the righteousness of faith. For if they were of the law be heard, faith is made void, and the promise is made of no effect. Because the law worked wrath, for there is no law, is there no transgression. Therefore it is of faith that it might be grace, to the end that the promises might be sure to all the seed, not to that only which is of the law, but is that also which is of the faith of Abraham, who is the father of all. So pretty much the saying, Yahweh came for that everybody that was an Israelite could receive in the covenant and the promises, all right? So, because the people that was living outside the law wouldn't have been allowed back in if Yahweh hadn't let them back in. 17th verse. As it is written, I have made thee a father of many nations, before him whom he believes, even Yahweh, who quickens the deaf, call these things which be not as through they were. Alright. And who against hope believe in hope that he might become the father of many nations according to that which was spoken. So should thy seed be. Alright, so this is pretty much letting you know that Yahushua had to be in that seed line, for him to be the father of many nations. Alright. And then the verse we all like to bring out, we go to Romans 9, one of my favorite chapters. I'm going to start at the 7th verse. Alright. Neither because that there are the seed of Abraham, they are our children, but I got neither because they are the seed of Abraham, are they our children, but in Isaac should thy seed be called, that it is that which are the children of the flesh, there are not the children of Yahweh, but the children of the promises are counted for the seed. For this is the word of promise at this time, that time will I come, and Sarah should have a son. And not only this, but when Rebekah also conceived by one, even by our father Isaac. For the children, alright, so pretty much I'm gonna stop right there. So it's just saying through that that he had to come into the seed line, because it's all about the seed line all the way through. And then you hear, let's see, Revelations 22:16. Alright. I, Yahushua, have sent my angel to testify unto you these things in the church. I am the root and the offspring of David, and the bright and morning star. So he said he the root and the offspring. Alright, so the only way to be the offspring is to come through the seed line. Alright, so with that, I'm going to have this be the end of the first part, and I'll be coming back at y'all with the second part, where I go through Luke and explain Luke. Alright, Shalom.